Okay. Well, they tell me I'm live. All right. Well, I have been awake for a ridiculous number of hours. I couldn't sleep last night. Um, and I wandered down here about 2:30 in the morning. It's 11:09 Eastern Standard Time in the morning. And good Lord, Matilda is here in a heartbeat. My hardcore girl. Yeah. How are you, darling? Um, um, yeah, again, it's 11:09 in the morning here in Pennsylvania Eastern Standard Time, and I've been up for a ridiculous amount of hours. Wandered down here this morning about 2:30, and I caught Tats Comics live stream and live chat, and we got to talking about music, which is perhaps my greatest passion in life, even more than comics. I mean, and that says a lot. There's Lord Tatman. Yo, what's up, buddy? Yeah. All right. Um, and he and I kind of agreed that, my God, yes, we could do, music chats or streaming about music and stuff, endlessly. And I mentioned a story about Bob Dylan that I wanted to share, and I am going to save that for a video when I'm sure I can actually get him here in the chat, because I want him to be there or be here for that. Um, but there were a couple of other things that I mentioned in his chat early this morning that I'll touch on now. And geez, let me see. Um, hey, again, my friends, I've been up for a ridiculous number of hours. So I'm a little groggy. I'm a little weird in the head. I mean, I'm always those things, but I'm particularly groggy and weird in the head at the moment. But screw it. Sometimes you just gotta do what you're gonna do, right? So I'm in the mood to do it, so I'm gonna do it. Um, yeah, the we were talking music, and we were talking about going to concerts in particular. And yeah, I've been to more than my share of concerts over the year. What was the last concert I went to, though? Because it has been some time since I've been to a concert. That I think it might even be, good God. Um, no, I think it was probably Ringo Starr. Uh, Ringo, 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 uh, and Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is only half an hour down the road from me. But that was back in, what year is this? 2018. I think that was 2000, April of 2014. That sounds about right. But anyway, oh, there's the go-to geeks. Yeah, Chuck and Lawrence. How you doing, buddies? Um, but anyway, there were a couple of little concert story gems that I alluded to in the stream this morning that I'm going to elaborate on. Again, I will save the big Bob Dylan story for another live stream when I'm sure that Tats Comics can be here. Anyway, the go-to geeks are fine. People saying hi to each other. Yes. Welcome everyone. Um, I made a comment on Tats Comic Stream about how concerts, live performances offered these unexpected little joyous moments of stuff. And there's three of them that I'll share with you right now. The first one was um, David Bowie, actually. I can tell you it was August 29th, 1983. Good Lord, I can't believe that was almost 35 years ago, but it was. And it was my first concert. It was right over here in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Um, Actually, two of these tales take place in Hershey, Pennsylvania. That's kind of my local venue. I'm here in Middletown, and I'm only 8 miles away from Hershey. But it was August 29th, 1983, David Bowie concert. Uh, for y'all that remember, it was called the Serious Moonlight Tour. That was the year that Planet Earth, biggest tour of the year and all that. But anyway, I was one of these people crushed down at the very front of the stage. I mean, crushed like sardines. We're standing, it just crushed down in there. But as Bowie opened his second set with the song Station to Station, and I will be singing a little bit here, so buckle up. But as Bowie began singing the verses, he would sing a line or two to someone in the crowd and point at them. Here are we, one magical moment, such as the stuff from where dreams are woven. And then he'd go to the next person and he'd look at them and he'd point. Well, he got to me at one line, and David Bowie and I locked eyes, and he pointed at me. He pointed at me and sang his line. I don't remember which one it was, but I remember him locking eyes with me and singing that line directly to me. Yes, I locked eyes with David Bowie. Now, I did go on to see about a half dozen more David Bowie concerts over the years, including his Hershey concert on his last tour. God, the years pass, folks, and the older you get, it's incredible how quickly they do pass. But yeah, David Bowie and I locked eyes for about 10 seconds. Yes. The next tale was I'm a huge Deadhead. Yes, I worship the Grateful Dead. That's just the way it is. Greatest live band of all time. Just the way it is. And Jerry Garcia was the man that actually inspired me to learn how to play the guitar nearly 40 years ago and all that. But I went to see Jerry Garcia. Um, he was on a solo tour. It was Garcia with his acoustic guitar, and he had his friend John Kahn playing the upright bass, right? Thumpity, thumpity, thump. So it was an acoustic show, and it was at Constitution Hall in Washington, D.C. And four of us went, my friend Phil, my friend David, my friend Bill, and myself. Anyway, saw the show, great, everything's terrific. And as we were exiting Constitution Hall, walking up the street to the car, Garcia's uh, bus was sitting right there at the curb, and we just happened to walk up to it as Jerry was coming out of the facility. I mean, we just met like right at the bus store, like exactly perfectly. And, I hollered out, Jerry! And he, hey, how you doing? Hi. And climbed on the bus. So, yeah, Jerry Garcia said hi to me. Huge thrill in my life, and I'll never forget it. Let me check the chat here. Lord Tatman says, last concert I saw was the Robert Cray band. Robert Cray is a fine guitarist. I got lots of respect for him. Good Lord, yes. Where are we here? Last Avenger 85, Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. Amen. Welcome to immortality, Mr. Bowie. Yeah. I think I've probably listened to that album 800 times in the last 40 years or something. But yeah, I know every note of it, man. Every note of it. Every intake of breath. Everything about that. I know everything about that album. I even went to London and I stood in the spot of the cover shot when he's on the steps, right? Yeah, under the big lamp and all that. Yeah, been there, done that. That was back in '93, I think. And Ellis was with me. Yes. Matilda says, I was not born. Well, we are all products of our time. Yes, indeed. Oh, there's Luther Manning. He says mint. Yeah, it's all mint, man. Mint. That's, yeah. Uh, Last Avenger 85 says, I like the Grateful Dead when they were a blues band. Well, goodness, I'm not sure if they ever were exclusively a blues band. I mean, when Pigpen, when they kicked off in 64, 65, they did do a lot of blues, and the entire time that Pigpen was with them, that's when we got, the genuine blues. But even from the very beginning, I mean, they played all kinds of stuff from country music to blues to pop to hard rock, yeah, but Pigpen, yeah, I will give props to Pigpen as the blues man. Good Lord, yes. Rest in peace, Pigpen. Yeah. He thinks their first album is underrated. I like the first album a lot. It's a really good house cleaning album, like a Sunday afternoon, like today, right? And you need some energy music to help you clean the house after church or whatever, Yeah, put on the Grateful Dead's first album. You'll get that energy, right? Yeah. Um, The last moment I'll mention today was a really big one for me too. I mean, we are talking about my privileged moments with meeting or seeing or um, being in step with some of the biggest musical influences of my life, and certainly this one, this last tale. Jerry Garcia, David Bowie, yes, beyond huge in my realm, but this fellow was huge also. My sister and I uh, went over here to Hershey at Hershey Park. Uh, it wasn't in the stadium, it wasn't in the arena, but Johnny Cash was actually playing in the park. And they have a little pavilion there in Hershey Park. And Johnny Cash, I've always said that he was one of the first voices I ever remember hearing. It was my mother and father, my sisters, the Beatles, and Johnny Cash. Those were the first voices I ever remember hearing in my life. And I grew up listening to Johnny Cash through my parents and all. And but it was October the 8th, 1990, and my sister Cindy and I uh, went over here to Hershey to see the Johnny Cash show. And I do believe the shows were like he played two shows, and we stayed for both. I believe it was 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. The set lists were exactly the same. June came out, you know, his wife, June Carter. June came out and frolicked around, kicked her shoes off, and frolicked around barefoot on the stage and stuff. Yeah, June came out. Good God, yes. And I had a camera with me, and I took a few photos. Saw the first show, stayed around to watch the second show, of course. And the encore song was "I Walk the Line," right? Because you're mine, I walk the line. Classic Johnny Cash, right? So Cindy and I knew that it was the end of the show, and what we did was we were sitting all the way back up at the top of the bleachers, and I said, "Come on, Cindy, let's go. Let's do this thing. I'm going to take this picture of John." So we walked down the steps just as he was finishing the song. And I went upstairs, folks, to try and find this photo and dig it out, but I could not find it. Couldn't find any of my Johnny Cash photos from that day, although I do have it. But what I did was I walked, my sister and I walked right up to the bottom of the stage, and I looked up at John and I took a picture of him. And that's the picture I was looking for, but I couldn't find it, and I'm just too lazy to just go digging for it. Anyway, I took the photo, and he waved at me, and I stuck my hand out, and he reached down and he shook my hand. You see this hand? This is the hand that shook the hand of Johnny Cash. You see that? See that hand? This is the hand that shook the hand of Johnny Cash, my friends. And it was funny because like the security guys from each end started closing in on my sister and I in that moment. But it was all right, waved at Johnny, shook his hand, and then we just walked out of the little amphitheater there. It was fucking great, man. I'll never forget it. It meant more to me than I can possibly tell. It was just an amazing moment. And So there you go. Those are the three musical, live music memories that I wanted to report on today. Yeah, David Bowie, Jerry Garcia, and Johnny Cash. I mean, are we in the upper pantheon of musical greatness or what? Right? Okay, let me get to the chat and see what everyone's saying here. Um, awesome life moments. Yeah, yes, Matilda. Precious memories. Precious memories. Yeah. Oh, Patrick says, I once caught Chuck Berry's scarf. Wow. Okay. Daryl is here liking the covers. Yeah. Hi, John, and everyone in the chat. Yeah. He also says Garcia was on a record with Jefferson Airplane. Yeah. That was a record called Surrealistic Pillow. And Garcia also produced the album, and it is a classic 1967 psychedelic rock album. Thank you, Jerry. Uh, Captain UK Pop Culture Fun. Hi, John and everyone. Howdy, Captain. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yeah, Daryl says the song that Garcia was on was called Coming Back to Me. Yeah. I saw you coming back to me. Good Lord, yes. He actually played more on the album, but yes, you got it, bud. Hey, Daryl, man, yeah. Yeah, man, dig those little nuggets of knowledge out, right? Yeah. Uh-huh. Eric says, Eric K, hey, bud. He says, please say you washed the hand since then, John. Yeah, I actually washed it when I got home. I'm a big hand washer, but the memory is locked in here, man, right? Precious memories, bud. Yeah. And Patrick says, yeah, you got some of his magic. And indeed, that's how I felt. And even all these years later, I suppose that's how I still feel. I wish I could have said something to him like, hey, John, thank you for a lifetime of joy and greatness and wonder. But he was singing. He was in the middle of singing "I Walk the Line," so we couldn't really communicate other than the wave and the handshake. Um, yeah, Daryl says, "Out of sight, John." Johnny Cash is an icon. Johnny Cash is beyond an icon. Johnny Cash is America. Um, his face should be right up there on Mount Rushmore. Beside Washington, Lincoln, Roosevelt, and um, who the fuck is it? Um, uh, Daryl says, I got to see and shake the hand of Dick Clark at the Cincinnati Convention Center. Yeah, Dick Clark. There you go. There's an American icon, too. Yeah, man. Jefferson, thank you, buddy. Like I say, I've been up for like 30 hours or something, and I'm a little not quite right in the head. Plus, I cracked open my first beer at 6 o'clock this morning. So here we go. Yeah. Washington, Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt, and Thomas Jefferson. Yeah, there you go. There's the four. But you can put J.R. Cash's face right up there with them. Um, do you all know that his given name was J.R.? He actually did not have the formal name like most of us have. It was his given name was J.R. Cash, It was only when he went in the army and his drill instructor said, "I'm not going to call you JR. I'm going to have to give you a name. So I'm gonna call you John." All right. And then when John went to Sun Studios to begin recording his music, it was Sam Phillips that said, "John Cash, that's not very catchy. We're gonna kick it up a notch and call you Johnny Cash." So that's where the name Johnny Cash came from. And for the rest of his life, those closest to him didn't call him Johnny. They took to calling him John. So that I call him John myself. I don't call him Johnny. I call him John. Uh, and it's funny. It's kind of the reverse of me. Those closest to me, my friends and family, call me Johnny, and everyone else calls me John. Right? It's like the opposite of Johnny Cash. But yeah, hell yeah, John. I agree. He is America. Yes, indeed. Johnny Cash. Good Lord, yes. Yep. Matilda. He was so christened J.R. Cash. Yeah. My name is Sue. How do you do? Right? Yeah. Boy named Sue. Yes. Matilda says, why did his um I'm not sure of your spelling there, but I think the question is, why did his parents call him that? I couldn't tell you. I suppose you'd have to ask them, but of course they are long, long gone. Um, but he was so christened J.R. Cash. Um, so I think that's all I really wanted to get to today. I was kind of again, after being on Tat Comics chat this morning and being so hot to talk about the music and a couple of these really memorable experiences I had uh, in all of my years of concert going. Um, uh, yeah, Matilda says I don't have a middle name, but at least I have a first one. Well, I have a middle name, um, and starts with an H, and I'll be 54 years old this year, and I've yet to had to have anyone ever guess it. It's not going to happen. My I'm named after my father. I'm John H. Rasmussen II, and but my father's parents had 8 boys, no girls, and they gave each of them a middle name of one of the kings of Denmark. My father's parents were Danish, and no, honey, you can guess until the cows come home. You'll never get it. Like I say, I'll be 54 years old this year, and no one has ever guessed my middle name. Um, I could tell you here right now, but that would take away some of my mystique now, wouldn't it? Um, right, Horatio. No, it's not Horatio. No. Hemming. Nope. No one's gonna get it. It's not gonna happen. It's never happened before, and it never will in my lifetime. No one's Harry. Nope. No, believe me, it's not that simple. No, not at all. So, anyway, we're half an hour into it. Maybe one of these days I'll reveal it, but yeah, I'm not gonna do it today. That's too easy. That's much too easy. Eric says I tried. Better to keep it a mystery, John. Yeah, yeah, Eric. Perhaps you're right, man. Um, we'll see. All right. Well, hey, oh, Matilda says, tell us. I don't know. It's tempting, but oh yeah, Eric says it's like from Seinfeld. Kramer's first name was a mystery until his mom revealed it to be Cosmo. Yes, Cosmo. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna wrap this whole thing up with that. Y'all are just gonna have to keep watching my videos and my streams if you're ever gonna find out what my middle name is, because you'll never guess it ever. All right. Thank you all. Thank you all truly from the bottom of my heart for listening listening to me ramble and for taking the time out of your day to stop in. I appreciate it more than I can possibly tell you. So we will see you next time. Yes. All right. Hang in there, y'all. See you later. Bye bye.